Welcome back to Uncontainable, the podcast where we talk about the pain behind the passion and the triumph that comes with that. Man, I'm wow. This is an interesting interview because I have my friend here, Molly Sant, collegiate hockey player who I've known since my freshman year of high school. Yeah, we go all the way back and went to Murray School together for a year. Molly, how are you doing today?
I'm great, Lou. It's great to see you. How are you?
Man, I'm doing so good. I'm so excited. I feel like I mean, first and foremost, you have a very, very, very unique story. Um and I don't know if you realize this or not, but you're one of the first like actual hockey players that I've known and like became friends with, male or female. So like, you know, it's kind of, surreal and different because I mean, y'all's sport as a whole, just in general, I mean, I feel like there's nothing like hockey because I mean, the physicality, the contact, I know there's an insane mental aspect to all of that. I've heard some people talk about like, oh, hockey is like football on ice. No, it's not.
Mm-mm.
It's not. I mean, there's so many more intangibles that go to it. The skill level, having to be able to skate while also worrying about somebody trying to hurl you into a wall, and having the stick skills to go be able to, you know, steal a puck, put the puck into the goal. All those different things that go into it. So, but just to for me refocus, going all the way back, you know what kind of drew you to hockey in the first place? Was it family member? Was it just watching it one time or something like that that kind of made you say like, "Oh my gosh, I have to try this." What drew you to it?
Well, first of all, thanks for the acknowledgement because I feel like nobody ever is like, "Oh, hockey's hard because you have to be good at all these different aspects of the game." Um, what drew me to it was when my mom grew up in Pittsburgh, so she was a figure skater, and then um, she put my sister and I in figure skating when we were little. So I was on skates when I was like 3. I did competitions. I have my little like my medals. I have my dresses. Um, And it was fun, but then I was like, "This is, like, boring." Like, I have so much respect for figure skaters. They're at the rink 6 hours a day. They're insane. But
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "I don't wanna be here competing against, like" I wanna be with people, and I wanna be physical, and, like, I want to have something really, really thrilling, that wasn't I don't know, that had some more room for error, I guess. So that sounds like complex thoughts for what, a 7-year-old? So I don't think I was completely along that line of thinking yet, but, um, there was a day when there was, like, a women's team that my mom could have joined, and my dad just, like, went and got my mom all the hockey gear, and so
Mm.
she came home and she had this bag full of gear, and I was like, "What's this for? Like, this is sick." And I put it on, and I would walk around the house in her hockey gear, and then the next year, I was like, "Alright, it's time to do this." So I finished up my last year of figure skating lessons wearing hockey skates, um, and then switched, and it's been, like, my favorite thing in the world ever since. So, yeah,
Mm.
that's how I got with it, but
Now you say you switch your figure skating skates to hockey skates. Like, what's the difference? I'm sure. I mean, now from an outsider looking in for me, I would think that like figure skating skates, they probably allow you to make more kind of like quick movements, be able to do all the tricks on the ice, all that different type of stuff versus like hockey, you might focus on like, speed, being able to change directions in a different way. Like what's the difference? Because for me, I would think, at first glance, it's skates. Skates are skates. So what's the difference?
yeah, well, figure skating, obviously, there's a lot of fluid motion happening, and, um, they have this big toe pick on the front. Um, that's not feasible for hockey because we need our blades to be like this so we can move fast and make quick stops and starts. So it's literally just it's a different boot, it's a different blade, it's a different rocker. Figure skates have the toe pick at the front, they have a slight rock to them, but the back is sort of like pointy and ours is just one fluid blade. Um, but yeah, they're honestly just for like different uses. So, uh I was never like a super skilled figure skater, so I don't have, like, a super comprehensive answer for all the different things that they allow you to do, but they let you glide and be super efficient on your edges, whereas for hockey, you gotta cut hard, you gotta stop and start, and, like, it's just different.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, so then, right, you talked about you're younger, you went introduced to figure skating, kind of went and like mom comes home one day, all this hockey gear. You start getting into hockey. I assume what middle school around there.
No, I was 7, and
Oh
then I
wow.
turned 8, and then I started playing, in a like, a co-ed team,
Hmm.
in Maryland, and then, yeah, I think I got to the point where I was 11, and I was like, "Alright, I wanna switch to a girls' team." So I tried out for a team called the Washington Pride and played there all throughout. So I joined them in 6th or 7th grade, I wanna say, and then I was there all the way through high school. And obviously now I play in college, so yeah, it was like a travel team. It was a massive step up from the group that I started playing with,
Hmm.
and, obviously, it was a big commitment, and I had to sort of, at a certain point, narrow down my choices in extracurriculars. So, like, at the time, like, every kid, I was playing soccer, I was doing softball, cross country, track, like,
Yeah.
everything. And then it got to a point where, like, we were in season August through April, and there wasn't really an off season. We were training during the summer too at camps and stuff. So, um, it quickly became something that I was like, "All right, this is what I wanna focus my life around." I was also playing cello at the time. Um, I don't know if you remember that from high school or not,
I
but
remember you played cello. Yep.
yeah, yeah. There was a point where I was like, I can't play cello and hockey this seriously together, like, I have to pick one," and I'm confident I made the right decision, but, uh, yeah, you know how it goes, like, you get into the club sports and stuff outside of school, and it just takes you away, so
Yeah. I don't know if you remember me playing trumpet
You
when
played trumpet?
I played trumpet. Yeah. I played trumpet all the way to my sophomore year of high school. So after I left Murray, I still played trumpet.
Were you in band?
I was
No
like
way. What do you do then?
I was in band from fourth grade to 10th grade.
Oh my gosh. Wow,
Yeah.
impressive.
Oh, you could call it that. But I mean, I've always been a music person, so it's kind of just like, it was a given that I was like, I want to try music. Like, kind of like you said, just growing up, trying all different types of sports, all different types of extracurriculars versus, well, I mean, the ones I tried aside from basketball weren't necessarily normal. Like when I was like a baby, I played tennis.
I did
Um, because my dad played tennis. He was a college tennis player, and then I started playing basketball, and I kind of never let it go. But then I also did kung fu at one point. Um, and like kung fu was kind of like my only other big sport other than like basketball, and then I kind of just like stuck to basketball. But I did music and all those different types of things too. Played a few different instruments until like I fully kind of just dropped them and let them go and focused on basketball. But I mean, I feel like a fundamental difference. I mean, kind of like you said, me first off, I don't like the cold.
I don't either,
So
so
I commend y'all for that, just all for it, because I don't I hate the cold.
I
I
don't like
all
the
of
cold
that.
either.
People down here, it was cold for like 3 days. People were like, "You're from Maryland. You should be used to this." I was like, "No, I don't like this."
No.
Like I'm wearing a big old North Face coat and everything. So I mean, that's just another aspect that y'all have to deal with because I mean, you're skating on ice. It has to be cold for you to be able to play your sport.
That's
Um,
what
and
everybody says.
then
It's really not cold. Like, you're in the rink, it's indoor I used to play outside, and that was a whole different thing. Like, playing in a blizzard sucks, but playing, well, it's fun in a certain way too, but playing inside, like, you're in so much gear, you're wearing a jersey, like, you sweat I sweat so much. Yeah, it's hard to be cold unless you're not moving, but yeah, I don't like
yeah,
the outside at all. I like warm weather, so I don't know how th I've pulled this off, but yeah.
I mean, when you love something, you find a way. But
Yeah.
I feel like even just another aspect, like when you're going into high school, um, you know, you know how there's like basketball games, football games, you know, you have this big crowd and your school's behind you. A lot of schools, at least I could say in the DC area, as far as I knew, didn't have a hockey team,
Mm-mm.
right? So like you said, you played travel, played AAU hockey, all of that. What was kind of like that aspect like? Because I mean, that's a part of it for us too. But what's a part of that that kind of like stood out? Because, with hockey, it's not like, okay, I'm going after school and I'm just going to the rink on campus, whatever case may be. You're not really gonna have that opportunity till college. You live in the DMV area most of the time. So what was that aspect like for high school, just from a day to day basis, going and being like, okay, school's over. Now let me switch into hockey mode.
Yeah, I think that I've gained a certain appreciation for that after high school because obviously now, and a lot of people have this in high school, I didn't like having everything happen in the same place, like your friends, your sport, your school, where you live, like that can be really fun and exciting, but it was very new to me in college, and I realized that I actually really appreciated the separation I had in high school. So, I don't know if you remember this, but most people in high school, like my freshman year, I was like really socially shy, awkward, didn't talk to anyone. And
Mm,
no,
debatable.
oh no. I was like, I kept to myself and we had a great friendship, of course, and like Yanina and like, all of them. But m and pretty much everybody else in the grade, like, had no idea what I was doing. Like, they were like, "We don't know any" they didn't know anything about what I did, and so I got to 11th grade and people were like, "You play hockey, but, like, we don't know where you play, we don't know what you're doing." Like, it wasn't a part of anybody's else perception of me because it was so removed, and so, I don't know, I it was massively demanding of my time, and so I would have to sort of organize my school schedule, especially once I got into 11th and 12th grade, make it so my afternoons were open because I would go to school in the morning and then at like 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, like drive from Murray out to Rockville every day. And during like rush hour, that can take an hour. So drive all the way out there, practice, then lift, then come home, eat. By the time I'm home, it's like 8:30, 9. Eat, do my homework, wake up the next day and do it again, and then fly out to wherever we were playing that weekend on Thursday. Play Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then fly home after 6 games and start the week over again. And that was what it was like.
6?
Yeah, like,
6 games?
sometimes it was 3, sometimes it was 6. There was, like, a weekend we had 7 games. Um, and yeah, like, it took so much time and energy, but I lived with those girls. Like, I was with them more than I was at school, I was with them more than I was with my parents, like, um, and so I think that the 2 actually really complemented each other well because I was always, I grew up with them, with my teammates from Rockville, and so, um, it had the team itself had a big draw, like, there were girls from Annapolis, there were girls from Baltimore, girls from way down in Virginia all coming up. Some people drove 2 hours there every day. Um, but yeah, we would be in season August through April doing the same thing every week, have a couple weeks off for Christmas and then keep going, and then the week after our season ended, we had tryouts, and then we had camps, and, like, it was so rigorous, but nobody at school had any idea. So, I think, like, when when your team would have, like, a game or something, everybody would show up to the basketball game, you guys had booster club, you guys had, like, everybody there
Mhm.
supporting you, and I never got to play a high school sport until senior year when I ran track because it was the one year we didn't make nationals, and so I could finally join a team, and yeah, it was so I got to see both sides of it in a like, a little bit, but track also just wasn't it's not the same as football or basketball or volleyball, like, nobody goes out to the track meet, so, uh yeah, that was, I think, a part of my high school experience that was different from my peers, although I know that there were a lot of kids too that would do, like, swimming or, um, whatever it was outside of school and not really do anything in school. But yeah.
I mean, but still, like, when you look at that, that kinda gives, at least for me, a bit of perspective that kinda singles you out and makes you different from just about everybody, right? I mean, for me, you know, we would have like AAU after basketball season and everything, and our season kind of, or our schedule for a lot of basketball players kind of switched to, what you were going through, but you dealt with that year round. Like you said, August all the way to April, then you get a little time off, then you're back to tryouts and camps and all of that. I mean, like, mentally, what kind of impact did, that have, just because that's, you're ripping and running all the time, like,
Yeah.
day in, day out, like you said, like, even just running through the schedule, and then just how physically demanding of a sport that you're playing and dealing with, like, what type of mental aspect did that have on you as a teenager, as you're, like, also trying to figure out who you are and all these different things? Because I mean,
Yeah.
we know how pivotal high school is, and kinda just, like, starting to figure out, like, "Alright, like, who is Lou gonna be? Who is Molly gonna be?" So, what kinda impact did that have for you?
Um, it's a really good question. I think that, uh, the way that I feel about it is that it was a certain kind of experience that I bought into that just happened to align with the way that I am as a person. And there like, I would sometimes say, "Oh, like, playing for pride hockey made me who I am," or whatever. But I think it's true in a certain way. It let me thrive in that way, but it wasn't because of pride hockey that I am who I am. Like, it's because I've always been someone who's drawn to being really serious about whatever they're doing. And, um, yeah, I just think, like, I was never I was never gonna be the girl that was out partying. Like, I didn't have a sip of alcohol. I didn't like, I was very much like, I go to school, I go to hockey, and I go home. And I think in 12th grade, I came out of my shell a little bit more, but, like, I was very much like, "This is the way it needs to be done. I'm signing this code of conduct saying that I am going to uphold the highest standard of performance, and I'm gonna take that seriously with the idea that if I don't, I'm risking my position to succeed on this team and the people around me and my position, um, like, succeeding in the future, basically."
Mhm,
Like, it was so important to me to get recruited and to be the very best I could be, um, that it having something that was so serious, like the hockey program I was a part of, it fed into that in a way that made it really productive. Um, and so I think it led me to be a teenager that just, like, I was lucky. Like, I didn't have FOMO. Like, I never felt like I should be doing something because other people were doing it.
yeah,
And, uh, I think that gave me a certain sense of self-assurance that I've been able to carry into college, when it's even more valuable, I think. So, I I'm so grateful for, I think that playing hockey in high school was the best thing, one of the best things I've ever done. Um, I'm like, every day, I think I have another version of why that was so important for me, but it certainly has, like, given me the perspective and skills and problem-solving abilities to be able to take on whatever's next. Um, and so, yeah, I think, like, I may not have realized that in the moment, but looking back on it, I'm like, "Yeah, that was something that worked really well for my personality." Um, and I'm grateful for it.
mm. So then kinda, like, going from there, having all the experiences, starting to come out your shell, like, with high school, there's a lot that went into it, and then you go on to college, right? We're getting ready to play collegiate hockey, um, in a place that is very, very, very cold. Like I said, once again, I don't know how you do it. But you're getting ready to go play collegiate hockey. How did, like, everything that you've been through in high school and all of that just, like, have an impact going into college? How did it prepare you? Like, on the ice, off the ice, what kind of did you bring with you from high school to college to be like, okay, I'm ready for this aspect, I'm ready for that aspect? And then what other things were kind of new to you for you to kind of be like, oh, okay, this is something I'm gonna have to adjust to. That's something that's a bit new to me. What were those kind of aspects like for you going from high school to college?
Yeah, I mean, it was it was hard for me. It was a really hard switch, and you're like you're like a pro at changing your environment. Like, you've been everywhere, you've gone to so many different schools, and you're good at that. Like, you're good at acclimating, and just calling you out, and
I
but
think
so
I make it look easier than it is, but
you make it look easy. You're good at it. Um, but yeah, like, that's a skill that's, like, you can only learn it through experience, and I'd only made one transition from, a school called the Washington Waldorf School to Murray, for high school, and that was a big deal. Like, that was hard, and I think that it took me probably 4 years to figure out what I was doing there. Um, and then I got to do it again for Colby. It's far from home. Obviously, we're both from DC. Are you from in DC?
I mean Maryland, but it's 20 minutes from DC.
Mm, so you're from Maryland and I'm from DC. And anyways, I think that I wasn't I wasn't ready because I didn't know what I didn't know. And I got to Colby and realized, like, wow, all these prep school kids are acclimating so quickly. They've been away from their parents for a long time before, like, they know what it's like to live in a dorm. They know what it's like to eat in a dining hall. Like, I've never done any of this. So I think that it was mostly the school part that was hard. And then for hockey, it was just different. I had a way have a way different coach than I did in high school. Um, and that piece of it was hard too. I think that I was brought in as sort of believing what my coach had told me through the recruiting process, and it ended up being different than that. I had a rough freshman fall. I was in the hospital. Then I, had a string of injuries, came back from that, and then still wasn't finding success. And uh, so, yeah, that transition was really hard. I also have fun fact, have celiac disease, and so it's really hard for me to eat in the dining halls here, and for the first 3 years of my college career, I was, n like, living out of a microwave, so not having nutrients too was, like, really hard. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, there were just a lot of things that came up that I didn't really think of until I was in that moment and experiencing that. But then, of course, like I said, having the experiences I had in high school, I was dealing with it all, but with an attitude that I was gonna be able to figure it out. And the answer was never like, "I'm escaping." Of course, there's sort of a biological instinct to remove yourself from an environment that's really uncomfortable, but
Mhm.
what my gut was telling me is like, "No, you're gonna figure this out. Like, you're gonna push through it and figure it out because there's nothing else that you haven't gotten through in your life. Like, you figured everything out, so go ahead." Um, and I feel fortunate to have had, like, that attitude. I think I owe a lot of credit to my coaches in high school for helping me get there. Yeah.
Mhm. And we're gonna kind of like dive into those different injuries here in a second. But I mean, like you just said, you touched on your coaches in the high school. I mean, just in terms of like your support system, what did they do for you? How did they show up for you in those times as you're trying to figure things out? Um, I know for me, whether it had been my arm injury or whether it be just like everyday struggles of being a college student or whatever the case may be, um, you know, it's like my support system, whether it be my coaches, whether it be my parents, whether it be my sister, like they know me. They know I'm the type of person that I'll typically like whenever I'm dealing with some or I got a problem or something like doesn't match up the way I expected it to, I try to deal with things on my own.
Yeah.
And they almost kind of like forced me to be like, no, we're here to help you. Like, use us in the ways that you need us and let us know what's going on. I'm very thankful for that. So, for you, like, what kind of does your support system do for you? Whether it be just like being there to listen to you, giving you advice, helping you out with like different things, problem solving. Like, who is your support system and how do they help you as you go through these different things?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think that I'm similar to you in the sense that my instinct is to handle it by myself. And so if there's points where I'm under immense stress or everything feels like it's crashing down on me, my instinct is to take care of myself first and turn inward and be like, "All right, it's my time to figure this out." And that comes from my upbringing. It comes from my experience throughout middle school and high school. Um,
Mhm,
but it's not always the most effective way to go about things, and I think that it's taken me several years to really realize that. Like, so the way that my coaches from high school have supported me, it's like they're available. They are still very much in my corner and actively being that way. Like, they text me, they call me, I call them, like, we're in touch, and they specifically say, "No matter what's going on, like, we have time, and we'll work on this." And so it's nice to have people that know more about what I'm doing than I think or have more perspective on it than I do.
mhm,
It's helpful for me to talk to people that know more than I do, and that always gives me a sense of ease about the situation. So I've learned that, like, talking to those people about what's going on, whether it's not playing, an injury, whether I need to transfer, stuff like that, like, they generally have a pretty solid answer based on a lot more information than I have access to. Um, and so I really heavily count on them. And when I can rely on them, then it creates an even stronger relationship there. Because people want to help. That's another thing I've learned is, like, people want to be able to be there and support you, and so asking someone for help and advice is good, for both people. But my parents too, right? Like, they're obviously my number 1 fans, and I call them every single day, and they've been through every single piece of it with me. My dad has been to every college hockey game I've played in or not. He's watched more games from the stands with me than I can even count. So he's really been there, and my mom is just like the rock. Like, she none of this would happen without her. Um, so, like, I can't even express the gratitude for the people around me because I really truly believe, like, they're the reason that I've been able to figure this out. Um, I know that I don't have the perspective myself to be able to navigate everything on my own as much as my instinct tells me I would like to. So, yeah, I don't know if that answered your question.
I mean, it does, and I relate to that a lot, especially with, parents being in the stands. Even I'm not gonna lie, like, I don't always wanna talk to my dad after the game, but after every game, he's either there and it's like, "Okay, what you see here, what we see there. Okay, cool, cool. This could be better. That was great, yada yada yada." And then we close it out with a hug and then I love you and like go on to the next thing or go on to talk about something else.
Yeah.
And, you know, whether it's like a day where it's like I'm excited to go and talk to him after, like I don't feel like it. It's like we have our talk, we move on, and it's like, you know, it's refreshing to be able to have that. Um, and it's like, something that for me, I try to never, ever, ever take for granted because everybody doesn't have that. I have a teammate, this year he's from France, and I was talking to him the other day, and he, has told me about how he just would love if his parents could be at a lot of his games or if they just had the ability, but they're in a whole other country,
Yeah.
right? And just how much that he cherishes even the ability to be able to go and talk to them. So when we go and we have the ability to have our parents there with us or have them as involved as they are, right? I can't be anything less than just thankful and grateful to even like have that, same thing, like I said, my mom, my sister, even the coaches that I have here, the same coaches I had last year, right? They go out of their way to make sure that we're good, whether it be in individual meetings or just like talking after practice, giving us advice, giving us game on different things, like all of that.
Yeah.
And like their support system is so important, like so, so, so vital.
Yeah.
And you don't even think about it a lot of times, at least for me. I don't think about it until I'm at the point where I'm like, dang, I kind of need my support system right now. Like I kind of need them to like keep me even keel right now. Like I gotta figure this out and I gotta figure that out. I feel like everything is going everywhere and like they bring it back in, help me to like, all right, breathe. This how you gonna deal with that. This how we gonna deal with that. This how we gonna deal with this. So
Yeah.
they're ultraly important.
Yeah. And you've identified something important too, which is like the kind of support that people are offering. And I think that, like, as you were talking about what your dad says and closing it out with "I love you," like, that's that's absolutely the kind of support that, like, I get. And I'm so fortunate for that because I think a lot of people, like, some people's parents ruin their careers. And I have the exact opposite situation, and I'm so blessed for that. Like, my parents, like, my dad will come to my game, and the only thing he will say to me is, "I love watching you play." And that's that. Like, he will talk about the game if he wants to, but he knows, like, I probably know more about my game than he does, and he is no place telling me what I should have done. He can compliment what I did, and that means a lot to me. Um, but yeah, like, I always know where he is in the rink. If I'm on the ice, I always know where he's standing. Um, his support just being there means a lot, but it's the same with my mom. Like, my mom's like, she thinks I'm a badass, and if she thinks I'm a badass, like, that's all the confidence I need. That is it.
Yeah.
Um, I'm so lucky in that way, just like you are. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
shoot. Last game, my dad started defensive chants at the end of the game, in the stretch. I loved it. I, my dad is starting the defense. I kid you not. He's sitting behind the bench. He's just yelling defense, and my whole
That's
team
so
like picks up on it. And somebody looked at me. They was like, "Is that your dad?" I was like,
Yes.
"Yep." I just
Good.
loved it. Okay, but kind of going forward, you touched earlier on what you kind of like some of your hardships, what you've been through. You touched on like having, a hard fall in your freshman year. Just in terms of injuries, I mean, if you tell me just about like what you've dealt with and kind of like, how that impacted you. I know that you had to take, time off for a while for hockey just because of injuries. So can you just like dive into that?
Yeah. Um, so my freshman fall, I had a really hard time, and it was less hockey related than other things. Just like grazing over it. There were 3 sexual misconduct cases ranging from okay to the very worst possible. Um, and it happened at a bad time and over the span of a couple months, and I didn't see it coming at all. I was being responsible. I was doing nothing wrong, and unfortunately, the videos they show you that before you go to college of what can happen on a college campus, all that stuff happened. So, that was hard and it was isolating, and it took a toll on me that I hadn't imagined I could ever really feel. Um, I've never been the person that's like, I don't know, like, I've always felt like I can bounce back and, like, I'm okay, you know? But I think in those cases, it was really hard to do such a thing. Um, and it just so happened that the first weekend of our season, I was in the hospital, completely had no idea this was gonna happen. And obviously, I don't wanna get into details of it, but that I think that kept me from playing my freshman year,
Definitely.
um, in a way that was, again, super isolating. And then my sophomore year, I talked myself into coming back. I was like, "Alright." I didn't want to, my instinct was, "I can't do this again." Like, there's just no way I can put myself back in a place where I've experienced things like that, and it was a biological response, like, you don't wanna go to a place that caused you harm. So, I talked myself into it. I was like, "Alright, time to go. Better get into it." And, I went. I was playing well. I was flying in preseason. My coach was, like, thrilled, and everything was going to plan. And then in practice 1 week before our first game of the season, I was playing back against the forward, and she cut in, and I pivoted in, and I dislocated my hip and tore everything. Um really weird play, but yeah, that one wasn't good. So I tried practicing the next day, of course, and I couldn't skate, couldn't really walk. And once you can't walk around campus, you gotta go home. So
Yeah.
I went home and got surgery. I I think it was 2 days after Christmas I got my surgery. We have something at Colby called Jan Plan where you do the entire month of January is one class, and you only have to take it 3 or 4 years. So I took that January off, and was at home on the sofa recovering, crutching around, and then I came back. Granted, my team is in season, right? Like, they're on the road every weekend or at home playing big games, and I'm at home on the sofa. Um, so I eventually went back up in February, started my spring semester and was just watching them, trying to be as supportive as I possibly could be, but it turns out it's really hard to reintegrate into a team after you've been away for a while. Um, I think particularly so that year. Um, and so yeah, that year was tough, and I got feedback at the end of the season that I wasn't doing a good enough job of being a part of the team, and that, of course, was like hugely upsetting to me because it didn't feel like it was coming from any place of truth. It was completely inconsistent with my experience and my effort. So I was upset by that, and once again, that summer, talked myself into coming back. Um, I came back and was doing great, but had trained so hard through the summer to try to be dominant that I had created, stress fractures in my legs. So I came back and, a week before I think was it a week before our preseason? I think it was a week before our preseason started. So in September, I found out I had 2 stress fractures in my right leg and had to be in a boot and was out for 10 weeks. 10 weeks, 8 weeks, maybe 10. Um, which again, I was like, "Wow, this is my 3rd time trying to have a good preseason, um, and I just can't seem to be healthy, and I don't know why." So, but I came back from that and I played a few games and, um, the season went okay, and I eventually got to a place where I was like, "Alright, I've restored a love for hockey right here."
Mm,
And it's not about my coach, it's not about my playing time, it's about the people around me and the support that I get from them and the support that I owe them. And learned so much through not getting what I wanted that I just had sort of all of the perspective I gained from going through stuff that was really hard and coming out the other side. Like,
yeah.
if I had known that was the reality of the dream I was trying to live, like, I think I may not have chosen that as my dream, and I think that's a hard thing to grapple with, but it it was anything but what I had imagined. And now I'm a senior, had a great preseason, I feel awesome, and it's finally, like, you know, starting to hopefully go well. So, yeah.
Mm,
I was like a fast
man.
tracked version,
I mean,
last 4
like, that's a journey to say the least. Like, I mean, first and foremost, I commend you because you battled, you fought, and now you're in a position to go and really truly like have triumph, have opportunity, just like go and soak it all in. And I just want to say, I'm personally just hearing all that proud of you for where you got into today,
Thanks, Luke.
and kind of like breaking through all of that. Um,
Yeah,
you know, getting through. I mean, you talked about what happened your freshman year, talking yourself back into going back to the sport that you put so much into, going back to the sport that you love. What was, that talk kind of like getting you back to that place? And then, like, from there, year after year after year, you're dealing with these injuries, you're dealing with these hardships. Like, what got you through? What was your why that kept bringing you back? What was your why that kind of kept pushing you forward and saying, you know what, despite all these things that are happening to me that honestly feel horrible and feel crappy and all these different things, what was your why that made you say, hey, like, I don't care what it is, like, this isn't going to keep me down? Because it's very clear to me that despite these injuries, despite all these things that kept trying to put you in the dirt, you kept coming back.
Yeah, I think well, you're being generous, so thanks. Uh, I think first of all, everyone is gonna play the can of the card of sorry, the hand of cards that they're dealt. Um, you don't have a choice but to, like, live your life. So, uh, if the answer is to keep going, of course, there are different routes that you can do that by, but, um, the spirit that I wanted to do that with was one of being unbreakable, and I was like and it sounds so corny to say that out loud if I'm being honest, but, like, internally,
No,
I
it's
was like,
not.
"Yeah, I can't let these things be the reason why I stop because it's nothing to do with, like, me, I can't I'm not gonna feel bad for myself, like, there's I know that I have the ability to succeed, and if I don't, like, that's okay. I can't really determine the outcome, but I can determine everything that I put in, and until I feel that there's nothing else that I could possibly give to this, I'm going to keep going. And, I think that like, one of our team values is grit, and, uh, I think I wanted to embody that to the fullest to be there for my team. Like, of course, it's about your own journey, your own well-being and stuff like that too, but you also or at least I feel that I've made a commitment to these people, and I know my parents and everyone has bought in, and they say they don't care what I do, it's about whatever I wanna do, and it's up to me, but, like, I know if I didn't continue, then there would be something else that I hadn't given, and I would regret that forever, despite how much happier I may have been. Um, and so I think just buying into it, even when there was like, I felt incredibly broken, felt like I was there was at a certain point, I had entirely lost sight of, who I felt I was, and that's disheartening. Like, figuring out a way to pick that up, piece it back together, and say, "Alright, I'm gonna do it again." And, like, I know that whatever they throw at me now, I can get through it. It was the same thing that I felt in high school, but, like, that feeling has evolved. Through everything that you deal with, you become stronger, and I think in my case, like, I really truly feel so much more confident than I've ever felt in my life at this point, because I know that all the things that have happened, I've been able to find a way through. And, of course, credit to all of the incredible people around me for helping me with that. Um, but, like, internally, that's sort of what's going on. Externally, like, it's not about me. Externally, it's about being the very best teammate I can be. Um, putting on a smile, cheering as loud as I can because y I'm, like you have to be so genuinely happy for the girls next to you that are succeeding. Um, so yeah, I think that the one word I would use to describe that experience is, like, really trying to be unbreakable.
Mm. And, I can relate to that. Man, going back to when I broke my arm, going back to even, mine wasn't to the extent of yours, but I had a stress fracture in my foot that I was dealing with, going into the season.
Yeah.
So, kinda like you said, cheering on those people around you, being happy for them, like, if you ask me, it kinda comes back to you, you know? And, I mean, like you said, it's almost like, yeah, you owe all those people around you, but you also owe yourself to, like, despite all the things that happen to you, because life happens, you owe it to yourself to go and give your best and be who you are and give your all every single day despite that, because life's gonna happen one way or another, so you kinda just gonna sit down and take it, or you gonna go and make lemons with lemonade.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You get lemons, you just eat a lemon that's bitter, but lemonade, you can make something sweet out of something that's bitter, so, you
Exactly.
know, yeah. Man, I never really thought about it like that.
That's
That's kinda
insightful,
cra
Lou.
that's kinda crazy.
That's my
Uh, I really never thought about it like that until now. Okay, so then just, like, in terms of, like, going through your recovery, for me, everybody may have that kinda one thing or that activity or that thing that kinda, like, gives them peace when they go through that. Ever since I was younger, I always said that basketball was my therapy, but what was my therapy when basketball got taken away?
Mhm.
Um, and for me, my faith grew because of it. Um, my relationship with God grew because of it.
Yeah.
Going and diving into His Word, like I said before, my family, um, all those different things. I mean, it would even be like the smallest things of like, I had certain friends I had conversations with God about. I had certain friends I would go and we would literally like just go and play the game. I mean, even going back to my senior year, I had a friend, he was our manager on our team, and like one thing that made me like calm and excited for games is on away games we had a tradition of we would go and play each other in Clash Royale on the bus on the way to the game. Uh, and that was our tradition. Shout out Jack, my guy Jack again. I gotta get him on here one of these days. But like just little things like that, moments like that, you know, can kind of help just get you through those tough times and help allow you to like lock in even in like the weirdest ways. What was like that thing for you that despite everything you're going with your recovery, despite having to sit down, not being able to play, despite dealing with all the things that life tries to throw at you, how did you make lemonade despite the lemons that you were dealt?
Well, um, that's a great question, and I'm gonna have an answer that sounds really overkill, and I'm really sorry.
Mhm.
Um,
It's okay.
I I think that the reason that I've always found hockey to be rewarding is that it fulfills the part of me that, like, aims to be really high achieving, and I don't want things handed to me ever. Like, it's good to like, I wanna feel that I've done something really challenging when I do it. And so, in many ways, not succeeding in hockey was, like, fuel to, like, keep going.
Mhm.
But at a certain point, it can also be so, like, disheartening that you just lose it. And it's like,
Yeah.
"This isn't doing anything good for me right now. I don't know why I'm doing this." And in that moment, I was like, "Alright, I gotta search." This was when I was home, I had my surgery. I was like, "I gotta search for something else that's going to be fulfilling." And I was just lucky that the doctors around me, knew I had an interest in medicine
Yeah.
and offered for me to go hang out in their ORs and go in the office with them and see patients. And so that became something I really was driven by, and I loved it. And I started getting positive feedback, and I was like, "Okay, like, this is something that I can work on as a
Mhm.
long-term goal while I'm just living out the rest of this short-term goal." And, of course, I wanna do both to the fullest, but in moments where I can't do one, I'm gonna look to medicine and my schoolwork, and so it sounds so boring, but, doing really well with my schoolwork and, like, really buying into it and trying to find success in that has been something that means more to me than it ever has. Um, and it's because I got injured and, like, got to figure that out in the moment. I was like, "Alright, hockey's been taken away, so what's next?" And the answer was trying to find something else that's a super long-term goal, really, really hard to achieve. I have doubts every single day of whether or not I will ever be a surgeon, but it's something that fuels me. So, um, it's a way of fulfilling that part of me that wants to continue to, like, have that competitive and ambitious spirit for sure. And then, I don't know, like, around around here, probably just cooking makes me happy, but yeah.
I mean, no, I don't think that's overkill at all. Like
Like, what brings you joy? Oh, trying to be a doctor, actually. It
I don't think
does.
that's overkill though. Like, like that's something else that you're passionate about. Different people are passionate about different things. For me, this is something I'm passionate about.
Clash
Um,
Royale and, it comes from the same place. So,
yeah, like being able to go and help people, being able to, for me, being able to give a space for people like yourself, people like me, we've all gone through different things. We've all been broken and built up in different ways.
Yeah.
being able to have this space and have these conversations, I mean, for me, is important. Same way for you. I mean, you've been through your own injuries. You have a passion for medicine. Um, you know, have the goals and are gonna be a surgeon one day. There's something you're
I don't
passionate
know,
about.
Will. I'm gonna try. I'm
So
I'm really gonna try.
you won't
Yeah.
get it. You won't get there. You too determined not to.
One step at a time. I've got, like, so much more ahead of me, and I just dread it so much, but I'm excited. So, yeah, we'll see what I can do. I don't know.
Okay. Well, as we're kind of coming to a close here, as we're coming to the end, um, I just want to ask you, like you said, you had a great preseason at the beginning of your season, your 4th year of school. Like, what's something that you're just so excited for? What's something that you're looking forward to this year, looking forward to this season that you're just like, oh my goodness, like hockey's back, I'm doing my thing. Like what's next? What kind of just get your blood pumping?
Um, excuse me. It's a great question. I I, uh, I think going to the rink is the best part of my day again, and so I love going in there, hanging out with some of my favorite people in the world, and playing my favorite game. Like, I think as as hard as it's been, the fact that I'm back to that place with it means so much more to me now because, like, it's really truly the last time I get to be in that kind of environment. Um, so every day I remind myself, like, this is my last time, and that just it makes it sort of all worth it. It makes
Yeah,
little 7 or 8-year-old Molly really happy and proud, um, and that's good. So I don't know, I think there's that piece of it, but I'm also really excited because I think we have a really, really good group this year. Our first years, we have a class of like 10 first years, which on a hockey team is a lot. Um, and they're all super talented. So like it's fun to like be a senior and like get to interact with them and sort of understand that the culture we create as seniors is going to be the culture that they carry.
mhm,
And I think that gives me a little bit more of, like, a responsibility that is actually pretty rewarding. Um, I also love lifting. I've always been the gym is my favorite place in the world aside from the rink. I guess they're tied for number 1. But so just getting to do that is, like, so I just love it, and you understand what a privilege it is to be able to do that after you've been injured. I'm like, I'm never gonna take walking for granted again. Like, when you wake up from surgery and you can't walk, it is so humbling. Um, so I think that I've just, like I have a lot of gratitude, to be able to participate in those kinds of things as like, sort of corny as that sounds. I don't know. I really, really, really love it, though. I'm very lucky. So, yeah. What about you?
I mean, just like this season, you know, I mean, short term, something I'm looking forward to. We're getting ready to go play Clemson on Friday. I got a whole bunch of family from down there. My aunt, my mom's sister, she's the 4th all-time leading scorer and the all-time leading rebounder at Clemson. Um, Shout out
Mm,
Aunt Karen.
mm,
Love her so much, but I mean, I'm excited to play in front of her at her old school. I'm excited to play in front of a whole bunch of other family because my mom's from Greenville, South Carolina, which is not very far from Clemson. So short term, just being able to go and play in front of family and be around family during Thanksgiving time, which, you know, I haven't been home for Thanksgiving since like my junior year of high school or
I know,
something like
it's
that, which
crazy.
is crazy. Um, but that's just gonna be a treat. But then aside from that, I mean, kind of the same thing. Looking forward to going to the gym every day, looking forward to going and getting shots up. And it's something about pushing yourself to that red line and having all that adrenaline that's just like exciting. It gets you going every day.
I know.
And, you know, kind of just like you, we got a really good group this year. We're off to a good start. Um, and I truly believe we have all the pieces to go and win a championship.
Yeah.
and make a whole lot of noise and do something that's never been done here at Alabama A&M. So I'm excited for it. I know my team's excited for it, and that's I think the thing I'm looking forward to just the most this year, being able to have a group, have brothers that I can go into battle with every single day, and looking to come out on the other side of the end of the season with some hardware. That's something we all been looking forward to, and something I'm definitely looking forward to because you know I by the time I'm done with my college career, I want to be able to come out having a couple rings on my fingers. So
Yes.
I
Yes, yes, yes.
need the hardware.
Hang the oh.
Gotta hang the banner. Gotta put
Yeah.
the first one up in the event center. But I guess my last question, this being the Uncontainable podcast, what does it mean to you to be uncontainable?
I knew this question was coming, and it's the hardest one.
It's not that difficult.
I saw a clip of it on your Instagram, I was like, "Oh god," like, I don't know how I'm gonna answer that. Um,
Oh,
yeah, it's I already said this earlier, but to me, it absolutely means being unbreakable and finding, like, your authenticity in that. I think, uh, all of this, like, college sports, playing sports growing up, it's not about that. It's about making yourself the very best version of yourself for the rest of your life. And I think that the lessons I have gained from facing like adversity and things that have just not gone the way I planned at all and was completely unprepared for, um, I'm really grateful for that in a weird way. Like, of course, I'm not grateful for the times when it's really, really hard and it doesn't feel comfortable.
hmm
Um, but there's no other way that I would have learned the things that I have learned through that if I hadn't had to deal with it. Um, and I'm so I'm really grateful for that in that sense. Um, yeah. What does uncontainable mean to you? It's time
you're
to
the
answer
first
your hard question,
you're
Lo.
the first person to ask me that day.
No way.
I'm being so for real. First one.
Go
Um,
ahead.
man, okay. So for me being uncontainable, first off, just being yourself unconditionally. Like one thing I always say is I have to be me, everybody else is taken. So just being me unconditionally, being me unapologetically, um,
Yeah.
just walking boldly in who I am, walking boldly in my faith and not letting anybody kind of like stray me from that. Just continuing to grow and continuing to get to the heights that I want to get to and continuing to strive for those things that I want and um being me while doing all of it, right? The way I may do it may not be the same as the way you may do it or the same way that our parents may have done it or our siblings or our teammates or our coaches or wherever the case may be. But at the end of the day, like to get to the goals I want to get to, if I'm not doing it being myself, what am I doing? All right.
Yeah.
So being myself through life, pushing, getting through, getting to those goals, no matter how hard it might be. Once I reach that mountaintop, I can only reach that mountaintop being Luke Hutchinson.
I know
So
that's right.
yeah, man.
That's a great answer, everyone. You heard it from the man himself, the one that asked that question every time. He's finally give a great answer.
See, you set me up. Now people gonna be trying to ask me, trying to get different answers.
All right,
Man,
I ask you the rest of the questions you asked me. No, that's a great answer.
yeah,
I thought of
Molly,
another why. I thought of another why.
you thought of
I
another why. What's your last
yeah,
why?
you were talking about short term, and I was like, "Damn, like, my why sounded so boring." My why right now is that on Tuesday, so obviously it's Thanksgiving and stuff coming up, but, like,
Mm-hmm.
winter sports. So, we don't really have Thanksgiving off per se, but my family's gonna come up, so my mom and my dad are coming up, and my sister is coming from Cleveland, and I have not seen her in so long, and she's never come to a college game. Um, I don't think she's seen me play hockey since I was, like, 16.
Oh wow.
So, I'm, like, so head over heels. Also, my boyfriend's coming. It's gonna be great. So everybody's gonna be here, and my roommate's gonna come over as well. So
Oh,
that's my why. They're all gonna be here. Yeah.
oh, I love that. That's it's gonna be special.
Hmm?
It's gonna be. I'm saying it's gonna be special for you. I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Molly, thank you so much for joining me today. Man, this was a treat for real. Like,
I this was great. Not it's very rare that you get to connect with an old friend, but also get to talk about stuff like this when y'all reconnect. Normally, it's like, "Where are you in life?" And that's not at all what happened. So I really, really appreciate, like, the depth of a conversation, and I think what you're talking about is so important. Like, it's so I think it's rewarding for athletes to be able to talk about it. Um,
mhm,
so I think helpful for people to understand that it can be really hard too, as much as we celebrate the successes, the part that leads to that can be really challenging. So I appreciate you shedding some light on that. It means a lot.
of course. I appreciate you joining me. And just for those people watching, please come back, subscribe, stay connected to Uncontainable. There's more coming soon. And just signing out till next time. This has been Uncontainable by Lou Hutchinson.